What's going on, world? This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal, and today I actually have a very good old friend of mine. And I don't mean old because I'm sure he's substantially younger than me, but I mean that we met years ago for the first time at a Rapid conference where we hung out a couple of days in Wichita, Kansas, and you can really get to know someone well when you're in Wichita, Kansas. And so I want to introduce you to my boy. He's more than a friend. He's my boy, Alex Camelio. What's going on?
What's going on, Marky? Thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. I love seeing you. I love hanging out with you as always. So I'm glad.
Well, we have a good time. And sometimes we don't agree, but we have a good time, right?
Right. You know what? Those are the best times that we have is when we don't agree, right? Because it's a good discussion. Whenever it happens, it's always a really, really good discussion.
Well, I know that you are a tech mind, and I know at one point we were involved in the same company, and I said, I'm social, Alex is 100% tech. But we're going to talk about how to bridge our online and offline marketing, because I know that you have worked for numerous companies inside of the world of real estate, and it's all about kind of the tech behind the business. And I know that we're constantly online. And I believe it was last year you shared with me some amazing statistics about direct mail. So we're going to start traditional,
Sure.
Offline marketing, right? What do you believe that every agent should be doing right now, or what is working?
One thing that we see that's working, and for us, I'll just go right to, our own results, right? We've, in the last year, seen two things that have worked better than anything else. One of which is direct sales letters. As crazy as that sounds. And we're talking old school, print, into the mailbox, straight up sales letters. If I had to go back and you had to ask me the number one campaign in terms of converting clients, converting business for us last year, sales letter. Crazy, right?
Tell somebody what a sales letter is, because they might not know what a sales letter is.
So a sales letter is the notion that you are sending out a direct piece of mail to someone's inbox that is going to get there and get read. And what I mean by that is not a letter that is super glossy and four color and, a hard envelope, or, it shouldn't look like some piece of mail that might come from a car dealership. Should not look like that, right? It should not be your monthly market update with your logo plastered all over it and what look like advertisements all over it in someone's mailbox. When we're talking sales letter, we're talking a letter as though you were to sit down and write somebody a letter. It doesn't necessarily have to be handwritten, but that you were to sit down, write somebody a letter, put a stamp on it, and send it to them. And this might be something along the lines of following up with past clients about sending you business. This might be following up with clients that you're working with right now about sending you business, about maybe giving you referrals, or putting somebody in the mindset to send other business your way. Those kinds of letters we're seeing as some of the best responses in general right now, which is kind of unreal. Followed by newsletters, amazingly. And here's the thing, me as the techie, right, Marky? Like that's
yes.
So for me to be saying that, it's kind of wild. But we started looking at things like last holiday season, Amazon came out and they put out a print magazine. I don't know if I think you may have gotten one last year, right?
I'm sure I got one last year. I surely did.
So right, so Amazon's doing it. You got to kind of wake up there a little bit, right?
Well, Amazon even went back to brick and mortar bookstores because they know all the stats on books, Kindle, everything, and they realized that people still physically order books. So they went back to a brick and mortar bookstore. So I have a question for you, because I know that you shared with me like one of the articles that resonated with people. Can you give me, this might have been one of the top articles, but give me an example of an article that might be inside of a direct sales newsletter.
Sure. So an article and when you say an article, what we're talking about here is a lot of times you want to give away some piece of value. You want to give away something where somebody's going to respond and either give up their info or share contact info of their friends, family, whatever it might be. We see a lot of things like reports that are, 7 tips to saving money when selling your home, right? Or 5 tips every home buyer must know when financing their next home. Things that are very simple, informational type pieces where you're positioning yourself as a thought leader, but really just being there to help folks answer questions that they might have and really provide an answer for them, right? It's at the end of the day, it's if they have a problem and you can go in and fix it, you become that, trusted entity, that trusted body that they're going to come back to when they really have those next set of questions when it comes time to buying or selling that home.
Wow. Now, I know that we receive a lot of, I receive a lot of direct mail pieces, and I also see information online. And realtors constantly talk about the fact that they don't know what content to post. So if we were to go back and look at those newsletters that are being sent out, about how many items of value are you giving away inside of each newsletter?
So we do 3 to 4 in a newsletter. Usually 1 buyer, 1 seller, and then at least one sort of general open, and then possibly, depending on what the newsletter is, what the content is, how long it is, that sort of stuff. But it's always very soft sell. If you're interested in more information, or don't think about selling your next home without downloading this report, things like that. Those little, like I said, soft sell moments where it's not that hard, go get this today kind of thing. It's very much like, oh, if you might need this information. The other big one is relating it, and we see this a lot. You relate it to something that's happening in somebody's life, meaning instead of saying, and we see this on the back of business cards all the time, right? Which is like, the best compliment you could give me is sending me business or your referral or whatever it is, right? It's like, come on, folks. If you want to go to the psychology side of it, try things more like if you know somebody who's getting married, right? Or you know someone who's having a child or having their second kid, or you know someone who just retired. Because if you start connecting to life situations, to those things that are going on, and you provide that reference point to people, then when that reference point comes up, they go, oh, that's somebody in that situation. I'm going to give them this information, or I'm going to send them to this person to answer questions. That's really more the key, is things like that. When you're setting up, if you know somebody that's getting married, make sure that they download this 7 tips to save money when purchasing your first home, right? Things like that.
So the call to action in the newsletter, is that taking them online?
Sometimes it is. Most times we're actually seeing phone call to have it be sent out is working better than the online piece. Because again, it's when people go online, they're feeling like they're going down that path of this is an ad, or this is not valuable info that this agent is sending me, that this is just general open information, right? And again, you don't even want this stuff just posted and openly accessible. You want this locked down to where someone is giving up contact info to get it. It feels like it's something that is sparse, that they can't just go out and get it anywhere on the web, that it's your resource for them.
Okay, so I'm, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm imagining that this works very well for obtaining listings, that I would imagine it works better if you want to be a listing agent versus being a buyer's agent.
It works well on both, actually. Okay. Works incredibly well on both. And I'll show you some examples here, because the same reports that we're talking about for things that are the seller side, like financing your home, things like that. I'll just give you some examples of the buyer side, right?
Okay.
So top 10 first-time home buyer mistakes to avoid, right? That's a hardcore buyer right there. Someone's going to go, oh my God, what am I going to screw up? Right. And they're drawn into that immediately. Okay. 4 quick ways to buy a home with little down. Same sort of thing. If you're targeting the content that you're delivering to people correctly, you send them down the correct, we've heard a lot about funnels or follow-up sequences or whatever it is. You send them down the right follow-up based on the content that they're responding to. And that's why I said with a newsletter, you might have one buyer, one seller, and then one that's financing related or one that's, more open-ended. And then people will see and relate to the content that they're interested in. And as long as you follow up with them correctly from there, you're golden.
So with the newsletter coming out on the back end, or let's say the portal on which they're utilizing to do this, can they also take these articles and share them online? Or is that something you just want to focus on the direct mail piece?
They can, but again, if they share them online, we suggest that it's for giving up contact information.
Okay.
If we're shared online, it's all stuff where they're say Facebook ads, right? We go into the social side of it. It's a lot more of the Facebook ads to get this content as opposed to just openly posting this content out there. Because if someone's not giving up that contact, first of all, if they're not giving up contact information for it to begin with, A, how serious are they? And B, how valuable do they think that information is? If you're not demanding some piece of value from them when they're getting it, they're in the back of their mind going, it can't be that valuable. They're just giving it away.
I kind of like that. I know that we're receiving fewer pieces of mail, therefore we're more likely to open mail. And I actually stand downstairs when the mail comes in and I look at every piece of mail. So when you said the car dealership, I just received a direct mail piece from the car dealer and I know exactly what you're talking about. It was glossy, two-sided, it's very salesy. And so most definitely, I know that we talked earlier about the fact that there could be 3 ultimate sources of leads. And so we're doing this direct mail piece because we know that people actively engage with it. And one thing you just said that kind of threw me off, you said they actually pick up the phone and call. So that means that as an agent, I have to make sure that my voicemail box is clean, whether I answer the phone.
But here's the wild part is so talk about going old school for a minute, right? You remember the voicemail lines that you could set up, automated lines where you call in and leave your name and info and so on to get that stuff. We're seeing that still in use. Here's the interesting part. We've heard from agents, from our clients, telling us that when they switch over to an online lead form or other forms, that their conversion and the number of people that are opting in goes down. That for some reason people feel more comfortable calling in and quickly leaving that piece of info as opposed to giving up their email address online.
Wow. And you could actually probably get more information on the phone because people talk substantially faster than they type, right? Yep. So I could ask you something and get more out of you than you physically sitting there reading and typing it in.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. It's all about the psychology.
Absolutely. Think about it this way from the speaking world for us. We can talk all day long about people signing up on some form on stage. But you and I both know asking for business cards gets more contact info from people all day long.
You know what? I'm sitting here now just to tell you. So these are the stack of cards because I scan business cards. So this is just the stack of people who I know we were talking about me coming to work for them, right? So I put them in one place and then I have another drawer over here with nothing but business cards, right, in it because I'll say, come give me your business card. Because what I've come to realize, we have to communicate with people and their preferred communication style. So, and look, every last one of these cards have been scanned. I've connected with them online. And those that are serious, right, I even take it to the mailbox and I have a direct mail. Look, I'm talking to the right person today. So I have these little pre-printed thank you notes, but I have my handwritten notes. I have my postcards, you name it. I got it over here because I need people to remember me. And what's kind of crazy, last week, I worked in Oklahoma. I met her at my first Rapid conference and she was looking for the opportunity to bring me in. And that was
Wow.
5 years ago.
Wow.
But I've sent her cards. Like, I'm sure I'm on her desk somewhere, right?
Mhm.
She gets my weekly email, and that was just so that she remember who I am, right?
Yep.
And so I 100% love the concept of bridging your online and offline marketing. And
100%.
so, okay. The whole setup, the phone line again, has just blew my mind.
Marky, it blows my mind. I had to relearn, straight up, I had to relearn some of this stuff because I came in going, this is tech and this is that and da 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 da. And I started realizing what works versus what doesn't. And it just is flat out, let's talk about what works as opposed to, the theory of tech doing this and tech helping us. We all strive for tech to be saving us time or somehow getting us better results for the same amount of time. And if it's not doing that, it's not really technology. So for me, I look at this and I go, how do we look at what works? And, tech is great, but how do we focus in on what really works? And don't get me wrong. I don't mean this to say, you should stop emails or you should stop social media or you should stop any of these other things. But I wonder about this. How much better do you think your emails did because of all those cards that you'd sent out?
Here's what's funny. My emails don't perform at the same rate as other people's emails, but my social media outperforms other people.
Yep.
And so my numbers aren't necessarily in alignment with the same people who hired the same company. And they told me that. They was like, yes, other people's, their emails are performing better, but your social media is outperforming any of their social media. And so I would say I believe it aids in the process. I'm clear based on the amount of opportunities that I have that it's someone who likes me and they're people talking behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Let me go that route. So because I do everything and I'm measuring the value of that individual item, at this point, there's nothing that I'm willing to get rid of because it's all performing. It just doesn't all perform at the same rate.
Makes sense. And I think with email at this point, it's getting inundated. I really do.
It is. And so am I looking at bots? Yeah, I'm looking at bots moving forward because that's another, the numbers look pretty good.
We all open bots to clear the notification. Like how much do people actually?
Oh, you know what? That would be, that's a whole nother conversation. But that would, right. You know what? Now I had to start thinking about that. And so I wanted to come back to a statement that I just made. I said how much I want to earn, and then I said a marketing budget, right? And I look at these things that work and what doesn't work, and instantly we stop what doesn't work or we don't get the return on it. I think that everybody should look at everything that they're doing and then see how that plays into their business. There are some things I would never do again. Like I used to have at Bally's Health Club, there was this light board and I had paid for an 18 by 24 sign to be on the light board so that when you walked into the gym, you would see my marketing, right? I will say this. It paid for itself because I did close one $417,000 sale off of it. But I know exactly the exact one sale, right, that I got off of it. And so I said, I think that my money could be better spent other places, even though it substantially paid for itself. Because let's say it was $400 for the year.
Yep.
Okay. And so I'm always looking at, does this work? And if it works, how much money can I throw behind it, right, to make it more effective, to optimize it? But I always start slow and just see, how it works. But now you done blew my mind with the whole bot, but this is not a bot conversation. So you were telling me earlier, those three steps we talked about, cold leads and client base and past clients as being sources of leads. What is the most effective between cold leads, client base, and past clients?
I think that depends on where you are in your career. If you are a lot further along in your career and you have a good sphere of influence of past clients, of people you've worked with, I think that's going to be your best option. is going after, especially if you haven't been actively targeting all of and following up with all of those people that are your previous clientele. I think that's probably your number one, go after it if you're at that point in your career. If you're a brand new agent, it does help to go after some of that family sphere of influence, maybe some college, things like that. But I think it's more cold leads at that point. You won't fill your pipeline necessarily with family and college and friends, that sort of stuff. So you're probably going to need some cold leads or folks that you're working with. And in reality, the working with getting business from people you're working with right now, if you can set up those systems as you go, there's no reason not to. But I think, like I said, if you're in your career, you've been in your career for a while, that sphere of influence tends to be your best bet.
So as the more time I spend in the world of real estate, the more my mind evolves and the more I realize it's not black or white. And I say that to say this. I used to believe, I shouldn't buy leads. But now I believe that if you're new in the business, you know no one, and that's how you're going to get the lead to potentially stay in the business, that you should buy leads. So I believe that it's a cycle, because you said where you are in your business.
Yep.
I believe that there's a point that you need to consistently add, and the rule of thumb for us is for every $100,000 you want to earn, if your average price point is $250,000, you need to add 2,880 contacts to your customer relationship management system. So you buy leads, but then you get to the point that you can generate your own leads, right? The next step is, I believe there comes a point that you should have 150 raving fans in your database.
Yep.
And you nurture them because they now become your referral business. So if you treat your business like a business, the more you move along, the more tenure you have in the business. Some things you should not have to do. I don't personally understand why at the 5th and the 10th year mark, if you've done that other cultivate relationships well part, you should not have to spend an abundance of money on online purchasing of leads. Not that you don't allocate some of your budget, but the budget should go down over time. It shouldn't go up, because that means now I'm doing client appreciation parties and I have these people who I am first in mind, right? And they refer people to me. How do you feel about that? Because you said where you are in your business.
I mean, think about it this way in terms of, the money you're spending on platforms for, say, cold leads. Say you're new in the business, I think you're 100% right. You have to buy leads. You need to fill that pipeline somehow. But as you start getting further along in the business, start changing some of those dollars that you're spending, say, on Facebook ads from bringing in leads to nurturing. Retargeting ads for the people that you're sending, emails, you're sending direct mail, you're trying to get these people to go to your client appreciation party. Target some money with Facebook ads to get those people to go to those events. Target some, those are the things where you can start changing up some of your spending from what you used to be getting cold leads from to something that tends to be a lot better, which is converting more business out of the group that you already have. To your point about 150, we say cap out at 250 max.
250 max.
Absolute max. Once you get to 250 people, it's all about working that sphere. And between that 100 to 250 range, that 150, like you're saying, is really perfect. If you can be following up with them, if all those people know, like, and trust you, you are going to do more than enough business out of that set of people.
So we're both on the speaking circuit. We're both real estate educators and speakers. And what I've noticed, even from the speaking business, there are 3 to 5 events that I must attend every single year. So when we go back to this sphere, right, we work that same sphere, right? Initially, it might have been a email or a direct mail piece, but now we're going to these people where they hang out, and we're making sure that we shake their hands and that we follow up and that we get them our speaker information. And so the same process, because I know a lot of people don't, they think we just show up, right, and checks just drop But our job is sales. We have to sell ourselves, right, to each of the organizations, and everything that we tell real estate professionals to do in their business, we have to physically implement this in our business. So the whole online, offline, to me, is whether you're in real estate or not, it is a part of the sales experience to cultivate relationships. What are you seeing work? So I send the direct mail piece. I now have this, I'm going back old school. I'm going to set up this voicemail. Are there any things that you are behind the scenes in regards to tips to the agents that use your products and services in order to cultivate that relationship or to get to the closing table?
The number one, the biggest one, and this is something we go back to all the time, which is don't get too fancy with it.
Don't get too fancy with it.
100%. We see this all the time where, and I actually, I'll leave the name of the brokerage off of this, but I had a conversation with a brokerage with their marketing department, and they were talking about, newsletters and marketing and what they're doing and all this and that. And we started talking about it. And the question was, well, can we make these edits, and can we make these changes, and can we make it look prettier, and can we, do those sorts of things? And I said, well, yeah, of course you can, but I don't think you want to. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, I go, look, I know in your mind, you guys are thinking about it like this, which is you're about to go into a board meeting, right? Where it's all of the marketing directors and VPs and, brokerage owner and all that sort of stuff. And you have to validate using this product, spending all this money on this product without plastering your brokerage's name all over the top of it. And they go, yeah, that's pretty much it. I say, well, if you guys are interested in brokerage marketing, then that might not be the best option. But if you guys really want to get referrals, get more business out of this, then this might be a tool for you. And really what it was saying is that just like, think about what you did with that car dealership piece and what we all do. We sit over the recycling and we sort our mail. Am I wrong?
Yes. No, you're not wrong. 100%.
If it even has a hint of that thing selling to us, into the recycling it goes. And then even if we do open it, now our mind is in that mindset of, oh my God, they're selling to me. What's the angle? What's the hitch? What am I getting into here? If that's what you want, then you're trying to provide valuable information while you're also doing that is not the best route. It's one thing if you're, selling Coca-Cola or you're selling a fast food chain and you need notoriety, you need the, brand name awareness. That's fine for brokerages to do, but they need to be cognizant and saying, okay, this is specifically brand awareness marketing that we're doing as opposed to direct response marketing. And we see that from agents all the time, which is they get this in their head that they have to be this super overly professional, high gloss, super colorful, all that sort of stuff for their marketing. But that's not what works.
I have 2 points based on what you just said. The first one, when I was the queen of foreclosures, I was sending out a 2-sided red, hot pinkish color postcards. I mean, I first of all, I was in the top 10% of realtors in the city of Chicago. So this ugly red 2-sided postcard was really working. I go to a bigger brokerage. They're no longer in business, but Rubloff. Rubloff is at 980 North Michigan. It's in the Gold Coast. I mean, it's fancy. And so I decide to be fancy. I went with a glossy 2-sided photo landscape of the city of Chicago background. When I tell you my response rate declined substantially,
Crickets.
I said, ooh, they really like this generic, ugly 2-sided postcard. Like they love that sucker. Yep. The next thing, I was interviewing someone and he told me the reason he loves live streaming video. And it was because he doesn't like to edit video. most honest answer I've ever heard in my life. But it's probably why I like it too. But those generic, non-glossy background, high production videos perform better than people who I know spend thousands of dollars on their videos. I'm like, I did that video for free in my office, in my car. I have more engagement. I have people clicking on the links. Like 10% will click on the link, and then another 10% will give me their information off of a generic video. And yesterday generated more leads because they reshared. A couple of people, actually, I made a comment on the video, and then 2 more people reshared the video that then generated more leads. And it's almost a year ago. And it was generic. The video was 100% generic. And so I believe what you just said works, whether it's the direct mail or even in the world of video. People want true, authentic people. Wait, who don't make them look bad?
Absolutely. Well, actually, it's not on the whiteboard now. So we did an article for Agent Inner Circle a couple weeks back that talked about the psychology with marketing. And one of the things that we covered is that, you have millions of bits of information coming in at any given time. And when that information first comes in, it hits the sensory thalamus, which is first thing it does is it takes all that information coming in and it says, do I need to make a critical thinking decision or do I need to get an emotional response? It's the first thing the brain does with any information that's coming in. Now, the crazy part is even the stuff that goes to critical thinking then has to pass through an emotional response after the critical thinking. So you can either jump directly to an emotional response or you can get critical thinking and then an emotional response. Crazy, right? And this goes to exactly what we were talking about in terms of if you think it's sales right off the bat. If you think it's sales, immediately it's critical thinking and you're going, oh, well, what's this, what's that? And you're all worried about it, as opposed to the immediate emotional response that you got because it was trusted. Somebody wasn't immediately going, oh, I'm getting sold to. They went, oh, this is interesting. This is valuable. This is something that I might do. This feels comfortable. And then they're drawn into the rest of it.
What was funny when I would go to someone's house, because these were all distress situations, and it was I'll either list your house or buy your house. That's essentially what it was. They kept my postcard in bags with other postcards. And some of those postcards were very nice, but I'm the one that they called. And I would always ask them, oh, do you have other mailings? Because I would want to see what my competition was looking like to make sure my marketing was on point. But they really loved it. And my marketing was not on point. It was just generic color postcard that was working. Well, okay, so we're going to bridge our online, offline marketing. We know that direct mail, a lot of old school tactics still work because people still crave that sense of connection, I would call it. And what I didn't anticipate we would talk about, but you brought it up, right, is where we often come into the real estate business and start. But once we get to a certain point, it's all about that sphere of influence, staying in touch and asking for referrals. And that's whether it's online or offline, right? So, Alex, I know that you have some different products and services. I know that you embrace the world of real estate. And I'm just utterly amazed that they've transformed your tech mind to get you look at direct mail, because I know you 100% tech. How would someone connect with you, and what are some of the products and services that you offer for realtors?
Sure. So the first thing is I'll give what we do for absolutely free, which is agentinnercircle.com. The Agent Inner Circle is a community of about 50,000 real estate agents. It is an almost 20-year-old community. And we put out content every week that is brand new content about how real estate agents can improve their business. The differentiator for us, and there are a lot of marketing blogs, there are a lot of blogs out there, all that sort of stuff. The real differentiator for us is that every single content piece that we put out not only has a video, not only has an article, but has some sort of giveaway template thing that you can use in your business today. So if we write an article on how to write a great sales letter, we include a template sales letter that you can go use in your business today. Every single article we put out week after week has some sort of content that you can go use in your business immediately. So that's, I would say, a differentiator. I feel like a lot of the blogs out there right now are very theory, hey, here's a cool marketing idea. Now go figure it out. Good luck. So we try to stay away from that. We really try to stay focused on that. And then the two products we have, one of which is Service for Life, which again is a almost 20-year-old product, about 1,000 clients, and it is a direct response marketing newsletter service. We put together content on a monthly basis. It is, while the content, the reports, all that sort of stuff, the bait items that we talked about today come included. So all of those, download this free report, download all that. That's content that we provide as part of the system that you can use. But beyond that, the newsletters themselves are very little to do with real estate. They are tips for saving for college, how to organize your home, it's very much like Reader's Digest style content. In that it's amazing that people not only read it month after month, but they save it. We have clients who have told us that their clients will save these newsletters in a 3-ring binder book. I mean, legit, they'll go to their house and they have a binder of these newsletters from previous months. So that's one of them. And then the other one is 3 Steps Ultimate, so 3-steps.com. And 3 Steps is very much what we talked about earlier, which is that notion that there are 3 places in your that you can get business. You can either get cold leads, you can work with the folks that are current clients to generate more business, or you can work with your past clients, friends, family, your sphere of influence. And it has a whole content bank of sales letters, postcards, flyers, Craigslist posts, Facebook ads, all that sort of stuff. It's a one-time $4.95 purchase for our unlimited lifetime access, and you get access to a whole content library of stuff you can use in your business right off.
Content. Well, Alex, I appreciate you for coming over here today. I love to surround myself with people who are smarter than I am. And then because I think of you kind of like my little brother, it's great to have a smarter, younger brother. So I thank you. And I know that I'm going to see you out on the road soon.
I love it. Well, I don't know about smarter, Marky. I think you got me beat there. I really do. We're close. I'll put it that way. We are definitely close.
We're close.
I love you like a sister too. So thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome. I appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah.